Uncle Mort's South Country by Peter Tinnerswood.
Uncle Mort and Carter Brandon were in the deepest, westernmost recesses of the South Country. They'd travelled through rich, plump farmland. They'd crossed raw moorlands huddled with wild ponies. A brittle, harsh-ribbed country of twisted, contorted, yellow-bellied spoil heaps, skeletons of pitheads, Celtic crosses, coombs, tors, runes, and the tantalizing sea peeking at them through narrow inlets, bounding away from them over horizons of flat, wind-swept plateauland.
Prime Great Western Railway country, this, Carter. We never saw the Great Western in the north in the days of my youth.
Well, you wouldn't, would you?
Hey, up, there's no need to be so bloody clever. I'd have been just as good at geography as what you are, if only my mother could have afforded a satchel and school dinners.
They turned down a twisting, plummeting road and followed it to the sea and the harbour, yapping with herring gulls and flouncing with fishing smacks. They found a private hotel with a bulbous-bellied palm tree in its front garden. They established themselves in their room, with its view of the Atlantic Ocean.
I just can't keep awake, me. It's the West Country, you see, Carter. It always plays havoc with a man from the East. It's too gentle, too yielding, too loving. It's anathema to surliness, is the West. If I'd been brought up in these parts, Carter, there's the grave danger that I might have turned out to be a nice person.
Carter Brandon went to the curtain-wafted window and looked out over the broad ocean's flanks. And he thought of trade winds roistering the slavers of old, muddy creeks of the Bight of Benin, broad strands of Chesapeake, Basque whalers icebound in Labrador, big bummed beaches of Brazil, scented quilt of cloud dozing over Madeira, migrating Arctic terns, sheer waters, men of war bristling with cannon.
What do you want to do, then?
Have a kip.
You can't. We're on holiday.
Precisely, Carter. And sleep is the only way to cope with holidays, Felicitas. It's the only way to cope with life, come to that.
Rubbish. Come on, we'll go for a boat trip on the bay.
In the lobby they passed a young girl with rimless spectacles and ponytail. She was carefully examining a pile of brochures displayed on a glass-top coffee table. Carter Brandon smiled at her. She blushed. She had spindly arms. They boarded the boat. It was clinker-built and its engine was oily. Chug, 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 throb, throb, cough, cough, splutter.
You know what that noise reminds me of, Carter?
No. What?
Royston Hunter playing snooker at the Old Comrades Thursday night and his missus has put too much starch in his shirt tail.
He began to doze. The sun beat down. Prawn pink was his brow, florid his bald pate, blistering red the great prow of his nose. Carter Brandon rested his foot on the gunwales of the boat. He thrust out his chin to the Atlantic breeze. He stuck out his chest. Uncle Mort opened his eyes briefly.
What are you up to?
Just imagining. Hawkins, Raleigh, Drake, Frobisher. They all set out from here on their voyages of discovery.
Aye. And what did they discover when they got there? Hamburgers, baseball, flying fortresses, and endless repeats of Lucille Ball on the television. Bastards.
And with that he fell asleep instantly. Carter Brandon smiled and set forth on a tour of inspection of the boat. He inched his way past the helmsman's cabin, and there, huddled in the stiff-necked bow, he saw the young girl with the rimless spectacles, spindly arms, and a salt-drenched ponytail.
How do, Ducks? We're from the same hotel.
I know.
Are you stopping long?
Just for the weekend. We're part of a Methodist delegation from Selby Humberside.
Great.
We're appearing on Songs of Praise on BBC television in an open-air concert of hymns and praise tomorrow dinner.
Hard luck.
The young girl blushed. Half an hour later, Carter Brandon helped his Uncle Mort from the boat. His gait was unsteady. His nose was scarlet. His brow was blistered. His lips were cracked.
I feel right badly, Carter.
Give over belly aching. It's now to good long pint won't cure.
No, Carter, no. I think the end is nigh.
What end?
My end.
Don't talk empty.
I'm not. I'm an expert on these matters. I felt this way ever since I was 2.5.
Carter Brandon put his arms round his shoulders and led him upstairs to their bedroom and settled him in bed.
I like the way you mentioned Raleigh this afternoon, Carter.
Did you?
Yes. He weren't a patch on Rudge or Hercules, was he?
No.
He had a quick shower. His body tingled, and he sprang downstairs to the bar with a skip and a lilt and a clean swish of grey flannel trousers. The young girl with the rimless spectacles and the flat-heeled shoes was sitting in the lobby reading the previous week's edition of the Radio Times.
Hello, Ducks. Do you fancy a drink?
Oh, no, thank you very much. I'm part of a Methodist delegation from Selby Humberside.
Well, give us a shout if you'd turn into a Seventh-day Adventist, eh?
He'd only taken 2 sips from his pint of strong German Pilsner when he was summoned to the receptionist, where a worried young man with a shiny forehead and belated ears told him that Uncle Mort had just phoned down from his bedroom complaining of terminal illness.